What's going on, Tamers? Welcome to DigiPod, the digital podcast. I'm your boy Varney, today in the studio with my boy Dan. What's up, bro?
I'm dying. Audience, I am dying today. I'm sick as a dog right now.
Sickness kicking your ass over there?
It sure is. So I apologize for any future coughing, sneezing, sniffing, whatever noise effects you get.
Whatever noise effects, yes. I'm all here for the
Yeah, that's gonna be me all pod. I'll try my best not to.
Today we are, if y'all have watched or listened to the last podcast, that was our longest podcast to date, not intentionally. That was completely unintentional.
Sure.
2.5 hours. We strive to never do that again. When we first started podcasting, we tried to keep it to an hour, and then it got to about an hour and a half, and we're fine with an hour and a half. Anything longer is just like
hour 45 is like pushing it usually.
Exactly. And we were almost at 2.5, which was like bonkers. So we're going to try to keep things concise. Today, we are revisiting, if you couldn't tell by the title, the BT15 tier list that we tried to predict at the beginning of the format. But before we jump into it, it's pre-release weekend, so perhaps more than ever, it's important to talk about locals, because pre-release is an experience that is fun for some and not fun for others. I've definitely seen a lot of different takes over the last few days, more than I've seen before. Me personally, I'm not the biggest fan of pre-release. More specifically, I'm not the biggest fan of sealed pre-release. I just generally don't care to make a hodgepodge deck out of the set's cards. Sometimes a lot of cards are archetype locked. Sometimes it just doesn't work well together. And honestly, sometimes you just lose because you just didn't pull anything, right? I know that's happened to both of us many times. And
yeah, sure.
It can really be an unenjoyable experience. I personally really, that's how I feel. Dan, how do you feel about sealed pre-release?
I think I'm in the minority. I just enjoy it for the one-time aspect because it's something different. So it gives you a different way of playing Digimon. I mean, obviously, it's going to be the same thing, but you can evo over any color. So you get these really funky ass combos sometimes that you don't even realize would ever happen because you could never do, the stack in that type of way. So I enjoy it for that, but then, just the one and done is fine for me for the set, and then call it a day and then keep it moving.
Right. Yeah, that's about where I'm at. I know I've definitely seen a lot of people who engage in constructed pre-release, which is
people
cool.
Don't really like it. Sealed format.
I would be on board with it if we didn't have a fair amount of people who just show up randomly for pre-release and are literally just there for pre-release. I would suggest it to our community. But it is what it is. It's really not that big a deal for any of us at the end of the day. I know a lot more people feel strongly about it. I've seen one take that I half agree with because I've definitely had it happen before. Shout out to Daniel, not Daniel sitting across from me or next to me, wherever he's sitting across the
virtually
state.
Next to us.
Virtually next to me, but Daniel from our Connecticut group chat, he was like, why would I pay $30 to subsidize someone else getting a box? Because realistically, that's what it is. You pay $30 for six packs out of a box. You get 24 packs in a box. So that means $120 for 4 people, and you're each getting 6 packs. Of course, you get the pre-release packs. You get the whatever the participation stuff is. But you are paying $30. Let's say maybe more like $20 to $25 for 6 packs. And then if you don't pull anything from your packs, okay.
SOL.
And then if you don't win anything,
SOL.
you just paid for the experience. And I've definitely had it happen. That's why I, again, don't care for pre-release, because not only is it I have a really bad experience playing sealed, but then I'm just I didn't pull anything, and that didn't make me feel any better. I've not pulled alt arts. I've not pulled SRs. Dan's not pulled SRs. I remember BT15. I was like, I don't remember what I pulled. Even if I pulled SRs, it didn't matter because it was like Alphamon. How is Alphamon useful to me in a sealed format? I'm not saying that I did. I just don't remember what it was. But then I was like, all right, cool. Like I can win this match because all I have to do is just drop like 4 bodies. There's like little to no removal in this match. And like what happened? Somebody played like 2 bodies of their own and dropped the Jesmon on me. And I was like,
yeah.
And then
that was, the boy, what's his name? Oh my God, I forgot his name. Shout out to him. He's doing great things in Germany.
Oh, that was Ryan. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was our boy Ryan. And then I was like, okay, that's fine. I can recover from this because I just had like a big hand. So I was just like, I'll just do it again. There's no way he can delete me again. And then he dropped the second Jesmon.
Yeah.
And I was like,
oof.
Well, I lost. I'm not, he's a great player, but I lost to pack pulls. Like he pulled not just 1, but 2 Jesmon, and I didn't. Like I hate that. And that's why I just generally don't care for sealed pre-release. So I get it. Like, you paid.
That was the pre-release. We had a crazy game. Like that was one for the books you and I had. Because we had like crazy comebacks. Because that was the one with the Queen Jesmon play I had that like combo with the Gizmon. Remember? Like it was such a weird ass thing. I'm just like, wait, this can happen because it's this type of format. But like that's what I'm saying. Like that was such a crazy game that we had that you would never ever see just because it's.
I mean, I agree with that. I pulled a Rapid X from my packs. So immediately I'm like, yes, I pulled a secret. I'm goated. But if I didn't pull a secret, and if I don't think I pulled any SRs. So my only pull was the secret. But if I didn't pull the secret and I didn't pull any SRs, and I was like, and then I won pre-release. I got however many packs. The only reason I cared about winning pre-release is because I wanted the Ukomons. If it wasn't for the Ukomons, I wouldn't have cared. Because my winnings, let's put it this way. I lost coming in first. Dan won coming in second.
Oh, yo, I was correct. I don't even know how. No, I got third. I got third.
Oh, sorry. Dan won coming in third. Dan, what did you pull from your packs?
Yo, so I got, what was this? How many packs did you get for yours? 10?
I don't know. I really don't.
All right, so I got whatever
third was. Let's just say a minimum of
I still 10. Got like the Uko and stuff, which is cool. I got 6 packs, I think, or 8. And I pulled 3 all arts. And then an SR in my packs. I was like, yo, this is wild. Not the greatest all arts for me personally, because I don't care about Dorkmon. Shout out to a coach. Nor do I care about Kosuke, I think it was, his tamer. And then I pulled, what was the other all art? I pulled 4 all arts. All in the, pre-release. It's the best pre-release pulls I ever had. Because I pulled a Shroudmon AA for the first 6 packs with a Sylphimon SR. And then for the 3 it was the Doru, Kosuke, and then I forgot the 4th one. Was it the Yoli and it was Yoli and Kari, I think it was.
So Dan was cracked. Dan pulled 3 AAs and I pulled some SRs. But like, so I get it. Like pre-release just isn't for everybody. My biggest thing about pre-release isn't about playing in pre-release. It's about getting all the cards that I want, being there with everybody and trading. We always say, Mario says it, yada, yada, yada. We also say don't buy the pre-sales. And I know there's going to be some knucklehead who comes in, well, I bought the pre-sales and it worked out for me. Shut the fuck up. Nobody has. No, I'm kidding. Buying No,
wow, he went hard for that.
No, it's aggravating because it's not like we're sitting here telling you to not buy the pre-sales because I don't know, X, Y, or Z. Like we've explained it in the past. The only people who can do pre-sales are stores like PPG that are verified TCG level 5 stores with a brick and mortar. People like myself, other online retailers who have a much bigger presence than I, but not a physical store, can't get verified as a level 5 because we don't have a brick and mortar. We cannot list during the pre-sale period. So we don't tell you to not buy the pre-sales because, I don't know, X, Y, Z. We tell you not to do it because those stores Like, as great as PPG can be, they are taking advantage of the fact that they can list during pre-sales. So yes, when you see $150
way higher, yep,
$150 Rapidmon XAA, that is because someone like PPG or whatever other brick and mortar said, this is what we're listing it at. And they set the market. But that's not the actual price, because what happens on release day? All the prices drop. It doesn't matter how much it drops by. It could drop a couple cents. It drops. I guarantee Rapid XAA is going to drop to maybe, I want to say on release day, $80,
60,
70, 80 bucks.
Yeah, I think 60, 80 in that range.
Somewhere in that range. So just wait. Like, literally just wait. The only way it's like worthwhile buying the pre-sales is if you're, first of all, if you're okay with blowing your own money. I'm not. Who am I to tell you how to spend your money? But it's also, you know, I saw someone say, well, it was better that I bought the pre-sales because I got to get everything from one seller, which is fair. It can be hard to find things from one seller instead of ordering from multiple sellers. But if you order on release night, you can get mostly everything from one seller. When EX5 dropped for Nats, lucky PPG was going to be there. I, on release night of EX5, ordered all of my stuff from PPG, and definitely cheaper than I would have gotten it on pre-sales, and then also cheaper if I had waited like 2 weeks, but I needed them for Nats. So it's
that's
not
the only
like,
reason you do a pre-sales. If you know you have a regional you need to go to ASAP,
and not even because your stuff isn't guaranteed to get shipped out before the period. So in general, it's just better to go on Facebook and try to negotiate a deal with somebody. Like, there's just so many better routes to go about it. So don't no knuckleheads come in the comments talking about, well, I bought the pre-sales because yada yada. I get it, I understand, but it's not why we tell you not to buy the pre-sales.
It's only like a rare occasion that like buying pre-sales is a bit better, and it was like the Doromon AA from BT8, I think it was. And I think,
which was our first rookie. No, it was our second.
The first, but that was like one of the first rookie AAs that we got.
Yeah,
and then
which was just like an anomaly.
If they acknowledge your SP orders, if they acknowledge your SP orders from back in the day, which sometimes they didn't. So like.
And again, let's just beat the dead horse. Why do we say don't buy the pre-sales? There was an instance where the gold cards were coming out and nobody knew what the ratio pulls for gold cards were going to be, and they were listed for super low prices, and people bought those gold cards at low prices. When I say low prices, I'm talking like $150, like low compared to what they are now and what they were on release. And what happened? Stores ended up canceling those orders. You're not guaranteed shit during the pre-sale. Granted, you're not guaranteed anything during the actual sale period, but I can most assuredly guarantee you that during the pre-sale period, there is a lot more predatory practices going on. So the TLDR of this conversation is just wait. Go like talk to somebody on the Facebook group, or find a store, or get in contact with somebody like outside of TCG Player to facilitate whatever it is that you want to get, or just wait. It's really not that bad. I bought a case. I pulled 4 Magna X's. Do I need them? Yes. Am I trying to sell them? Yes. Because I myself, if people are willing to pay the price of, sure, here, take the Magna X off my hand. If it's that important to you, I will buy it back in about a week, 2 weeks time. But like, just wait. It's really not that big a deal. There's no regional using these cards in the next like week. Like, come on, bro. Just...
I think the next event I think is June 1st. I think it is ?
Yeah,
which I'm in.
I would like to say June 1st because that's also the one that I'm in. So like, just
what you playing? What you playing for that regional or Ultica, whatever it is?
Don't worry about it.
Damn.
Don't worry about it. You've been trying to find out from me for like 2 weeks now. Oh, we got Evo Cup coming up this weekend. So shout out if you guys. Oh no, you guys won't hear this by the time it drops. Check your shops. Check those Evo Cups. I kind of want to go on another mini rant, but I don't know if I want to. Maybe I'll save it for another podcast.
No, just go ahead. You don't forget it. You don't forget it.
All right. Well, let me just finish up with pre-release and locals. So, like I said, I won pre-release using. It was Armor Rush. I mean, we had so many armors in this set, right? Like that was the majority of the level 4s.
It's probably everybody's like go-to stuff, basically, because they were all commons, all comments.
Exactly.
cards.
And they were all 3 cost Evos. But because they were all 3 cost Evos, everybody was paying 3 cost Evo type thing. So it wasn't
unless you had a tamer with Vmon on board. that was the catch. That was getting me dubs.
Bro, from the moment that he handed us 4 Vmon promos, I was like, well, I got 4 rookies.
Yeah, guaranteed.
And I pulled 3 tamers. I was like, I'll probably only play 2. But 2 is all I need because I pulled one Ukomon from my pack and 1 pre-release Ukomon. And I was like, all I need to do is see 1 tamer. And this Vmon will put into work for me. And then all the other free rookies from the set are going to be my memory gainers. And let me tell you, Hawkmon, Armadillomon, Vmon. Yep. Am I missing one? Patamon. They all put into work. They put into work. Well, Patamon has a little bit of a different effect, but the other 3 they put into work. I basically won on the backing of sealed armor rush. Like I said, I pulled. No, I didn't pull shit from my packs. I pulled the Rapid X regular art. So cool. That's it. I was just there to have a good time with everybody and trade because trading is always fun. I like trading. Selling cards is nice, but like trading cards, it's a trading card game. I like trading cards. You know what I mean? So when everybody's paying the jacked up, juiced up pre-sale prices, it's fair for everybody because it's just value for value, you know? So yeah, that was pre-release for me. How about for you, Dan?
Man, I wish I didn't break against you, but you know what's the funny part? I didn't realize I had only like 9 rookies when I first built it. I was like, all right, armor. So I just kept going, and I was like 40 cards bet, and I was like, yo, when I did the first hand, it was straight all champions. I was like, nah. Second hand, 4 champions and 1 like ultimate. So I was like, after the game, because I was like, I'm going to lose this immediately because I was going first too already. So I was like, I'm going to lose this. I already know in my head I'm losing this. There's no way. I'm going to try my best, but there's just no way. And then I ended up losing it. And then I go through, I was like, let me count how many rookies I had. I was like, 9? Oh my God. No wonder I didn't see anything. So like, I almost had it. This man went into a Stigmon and killed my Diamond. And I was set up for a, Shroudmon. And I was like so mad. I was like, no, because this is probably the only ever time I'm ever going to use this dumb card. Because I'm never going to probably play the deck really. So I was so sad. I was like, God damn it, that's my only way to do it. Because I didn't see anything else. And I was just hard playing the armors basically the whole time. And Aquilamon was pretty solid for
Aquilamon jamming and pop 3K.
3, yeah. Pretty solid. But besides that, I lost. But like after that, so my whole goal was I got Mummymon and Arcanimon in the tamer. I was like, all right, I'll get the tamer out. I'll play Mummymon or Arcanimon for 3 and then Evo to Dragon Mode. I pulled Dragon Mode and FM Ace. So I'll go Mummy, Dragon Mode. And then I'm like, all right, do something. Try me. Ace. Blow. And then just watch the Ace Spider Mode carry me. And that's legit what happened round 2 and 3. That was like my whole game plan basically. And then and then the Vmon drawing ability too, because every armor is 2 color. So it's just a free draw. You go Evo for 2, basically, if you have a tamer out.
Yep.
You swing, draw. I had the Harpymon that's also giving me pluses as well, either memory or recovery at times. And then like the Lynxmon with Raid, it was so clutch at times to just get over other things to make sure your opponent's board is like nothing. I enjoyed the armors in this little format because you were able to do cool things, I think. And then I had a combo, crazy combo that's never ever gonna happen in a normal setting. I went to I think it's Sheepmon, right? The one with the collision.
Yes, Sheepmon.
Yeah. So I like went to Sheepmon over to Vmon. He had a Vmon and a Aquilamon on board. So Sheepmon is stronger than Aquilamon. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna swing security. You have to block with Vmon. Sheepmon's effect, negate the attack and unsuspend. I swung over Aquilamon, and then I Digivolve it to, I think it's called Zankantsumon or something like that. The Gammamon, the black Gammamon. And
Yeah,
then
I know which one you're talking about.
I popped the Digimon. I was like, let's go, board clearing. This is never ever gonna happen ever again in the history of Digimon. This combo right here. But yeah, it was just like FM was just carrying me basically. That card is cracked with the DM underneath it. You can bottom deck anything that's suspended, and you swing, unsuspend, bottom deck something that's suspended. So it's just like constant board removal, and they attack and it lives. They're in danger sometimes, so you just gonna bottom deck it. It's kind of crazy.
So yeah, that was pre-release. The biggest highlight of pre-release is, let me show you, is this boy right here.
That's a whole
fact. I know you guys can't really see it nice through the camera. So
you gotta go like this, like a hologram card, you know, one of those like those 3D cards. You gotta like move it around so they can see the full effect of it.
Bro, look at the. I was showing it to my wife, and it was literally reflecting on the wall. I was like, bro, is this card that shiny? Like, it literally reflects, bro. I took it out of the top loader. I was like, this card is insanely much better looking in person than it is online. So undoubtedly, Chase Rare, for those of you who are listening and cannot see the video, we pulled the Chase Rare 2-star Magna X, the one they call the mugshot.
Isn't that the 3-star? That's not the 3-star?
No, he only has 2 arts.
Yeah, they have the regular. I thought they named it by like the first one is a star, and then the regular alt art is 2, and then that one's not 3.
First alt art is 1 star. The second alt art is a 2-star. If there's a third art, it's a 3-star. I forget which one has the 3 arts.
Metal Garurumon.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, because it has a regular AA. It has the Animal Coliseum, or not Animal, the like Hyper Coliseum AA, and then it has the English exclusive AA, which is the 3-star.
Gotcha.
So undeniably the highlight of pre-release. I was sitting here opening packs. We're on the 10th box. I always go, I don't care to sort my cards because I learned very on in opening cases that sorting cards is more of a pain in the ass than it's worth, especially if you buy more and more product throughout the fucking season like I do. Like, I'm never just like, all right, I bought my case, I'm done. I'm like, I guess I'll buy another box. And then it just ends up getting added to the bulk. And then I don't sort that bulk. So I don't bother sorting anything. I just sift through everything really fast. So I'm just sitting here. I pull out the 2 cards from the back. I pull the back card away, nothing. I pull this one, or I don't remember. I'm pretty sure the back card was... Right, that's what you would think, but I feel like the back card was nothing, and this card was like on top of it. I could be wrong. I don't know. Maybe it's because that's where SPs are located. I don't know. Maybe whatever. It doesn't matter where it was, because all I know is I saw it, and I don't know. I went through at least like 4 different emotions. I was like, "What the holy son of a!" I didn't like throw it down, but like I dropped it on the table, and like I got up and I walked away. I was like, "There's no fucking way I just pulled this card. There's no fucking way." And everybody was like, "Whoa, what's going on? Why'd he get up? What's going on?" And I'm like, "Look at the table." And I walk back and I pick it up, and I'm like, "There's no fucking way. We're this so good." On his hand and knees. He starts praying to God. This man does the most. You know what I'm saying? I quite literally dropped to my knees. I was like, "There's no way."
He's like,
first my long people.
I was saying on Sunday, I was like, if this man died tomorrow, he would be a happy man. After that pull.
Listen, I've been buying cases since BT5. You know how many cases of Battle of Omni I bought? I bought at least 4, if not 5 cases of Battle of Omni.
That's crazy.
I opened at least 2, if not 3 of those cases, and I pulled not 1 Ghost Omni. A travesty. Honestly, a travesty. And then I've basically been buying cases since of almost every set. Not every set, but almost every set.
Yeah, almost.
No SPs. No SPs for me. So this is my first SP pull. So you know that this boy ain't going nowhere. he is with me for life. I could quit Digimon. I'll sell everything. I keep this one card right here.
Hey, yo, that's the one going to make you the most money, though.
I know, right? So yeah, that's that. All right. As far as the rant that I wanted to get onto earlier, I didn't forget.
This should be good.
It's just a quick one. It's not going to be a quick one. Watch it be like 15 minutes or some shit. Basically, there was a conversation on the Facebook page about $95 being too much for a box. And so let's talk about that, right? So yes, in my honest opinion, and I could say this almost matter-of-factly, $95 is too much for a box. $90 is too much for a box. $85 is encroaching too much for a box. The reason that I say that, right? So I don't know, like, I know our audience, obviously. I know everybody in Discord. I know everybody who comments on YouTube. I don't know how many, like, you know, people who are close to game shop owners or actual game shop owners who listen to this who might agree or disagree. But there was a few takes on both posts that happened on the Facebook group. And they were basically like, one guy called everybody a child because they didn't understand how economics works and what it means to pay bills, yada, yada, yada. Like, we're all not paying how much money in a card game to buy cardboard. Like, I don't know. That's a shit argument. And the reason I bring it up is because we've been, all right, when I say we, I mean Dan and I and anybody who's been on this podcast, we've been blessed with a phenomenal LGS. Our LGS is goated. Gamer's Edge in East Stroudsburg. Ever since I got into Digimon, and it's probably not just Digimon, to be honest, it's every other card game as well, especially One Piece. But we've been blessed. We've never, Dan, how much were boxes back then? I want to say they were 65, right?
Yeah.
Like right when they first, here's the big thing. And this is why I criticize LGSs so much. Our LGS, we're not the likes of PPG, but we're also not just a mom and pop shop. It's a pretty decent LGS. And Dan, the history of Stroudsburg. So how long have they been open? At least like 15 years?
Oh, yeah.
10, 15 years?
Easy 15.
So they've been open for a while. So they've been around, right? Back during COVID, when Digimon product was hard to come by, we were like, hey, we want to get into Digimon. Well, not me. I wasn't part of the community yet, but Connor, Dan, and whoever else originally started the Digimon community was like, hey, we want to get into Digimon. And the shop manager, his name is also Dan. There's so many Dans. So I'm going to call him Shop Dan, or Daddy Dan, as we like to call him. Daddy Dan was like, yeah, no problem. We'll get in, I'll buy this, whatever, yada, yada, yada. So he got the product. Obviously, again, I didn't start playing the game until BT4. And specifically, I came to a pre-release at the Gamer's Edge. That's where I met Dan and everybody else. And bro, how many people were at that pre-release? Had to easily been like 30 people, right?
I don't know about 30, but it was a decent chunk of people.
All right, sure. So let's say at least 20. Like 20.
Yeah,
there was a lot of people, and I had came up with a few people from Allentown. There was everybody there that I didn't know. And there was a couple of people that I did know from the card fight community, and he had boxes to sell, and he sold us boxes at $65 a pop. We might not have been able to pick up a lot of boxes, but definitely got at least one or two. And everybody was able to get one or two at $65 a pop back during COVID time when product was hard to come by. There's another shop near me called Deal Me In Games. And shout out to my boy AJ. AJ's living over in Cali. But when I got into Digimon, I got into it with him. We just like, oh, we're getting into this. So we went balls deep. He called up this LGS and he said, hey, do you guys have any BT4? And they said, yeah, we do.
Is that the shop in, I think, Boyerstown?
Yeah. The one that makes you feel some type of way as a minority. Yes. And I say that because I'm darker skinned than AJ. And he said when he walked in there, he felt some type of way. I'm one to brush that shit off. He was like, yeah, all the Yu-Gi-Oh players looked at me like I was like I don't know. I was like, I don't pay attention to nobody. All that shit's beyond me.
Hey, yo, if anybody from Boyerstown that goes to that locals, let us know. Please tell us. This was like a one-time thing and not a consistent thing.
I would hope. I don't know, but that's besides the point. Anyways, he calls up this LGS and he's like, "Hey, how many boxes of BT4 do you guys have? Or not how many? How much are your boxes?" And they said $150. And I looked at him, and this is before we went to Gamers Edge, because this was like pre-release weekend. I looked at him and I was like, bro, I'm literally looking at boxes online on eBay for $90. You tell them there's no fucking way we're paying that. They gotta come down on the price. You know what they came down on the price to? $110. $110. And here's how I know that this store in particular is not a store that buys the product at the inflated prices and then sells. They're a store that gets product from distro for distro prices and then sells at their inflated prices. This is how I know that. Because when we were, Dan, how long ago did you go there? I want to say it was like about a year ago, right?
Oh, no, it was longer. I think it was 2 years ago because me, Darian, went for a store championship. That was when the invites were allowed for that. So that was during BT5. Yeah, it was Lord Nightmon era.
Okay, then it wasn't that. There was a time, it was probably when I went then. And I'm looking at like all of their stuff, not just Digimon. I'm looking at all of their stuff. And I'm just like comparing prices. Everything. It's not just Digimon. Everything is inflated. And like $20 for starter decks inflated. Like when starter decks were supposed to be like $10, the Venomous Violet and stuff. It was like, no, back then those were probably like 25 to 30 a pop. But I'm just like, this is how I know, like, this is the type of store that actually gets product at distro price and sells it at inflated price. So they lowered to 110 and I was like, that's better, but it's still not 90, but that's okay. Me, I'm a deal seeker because I look at it this way. It's not like we're going to go there and buy 1 or 2 boxes. I'm going there to buy like 4, 5 boxes. That means there's a difference between spending $360 and $440. That's an $80 difference. That means if I buy the box offline, $10 extra gets me an extra box. And I don't know if like people like dick ride for some of these LGSs or if they're like what their views are, but it's like at the end of the day, what is the most important thing to a business, Dan?
Their customers.
Their customers. Because without the customers, how do you survive, right? So I've seen the arguments. I've seen the business has to pay their bills and yada, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Listen. Yes, but also if you drive your customers away, you're not going to have any money because they're not going to buy from you. And that's the most important thing. There's a fine balance between charging a fair price and making your money. And what this all comes back to is the Gamer's Edge. I don't know what the fuck distro pricing was back then, because I know that now distro pricing is 67-ish a box. It's about $750 for a case. I think the math on that works out. So if they were charging us $65 back then, that means they were getting those cases for what? $50 a box?
Get like $40, $50 a box, so like that.
Right, exactly. And they could have juiced. They could have said, you know what? I'm going to charge the $150. I'm going to charge $110. I'm going to charge $90, but they didn't. And what do they have? Loyal players, not just for Digimon, but for all of their card games. Digimon, Pokemon, Battle Spirits when they had it, One Piece, literally every card game.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Magic.
The One Piece crowd there, I know they have a big One Piece crowd because I've went a few times and he does the same. Daddy Dan does the same exact things. He does not charge them over. He tries to get each player as much product as he can without running out. So he's enough for pricing support. He charges them the fair price. So not MSRP, which would be 108 because it's like 107.76 on 449 MSRP. It's maybe like $80 a box. I think it's the same thing as Digimon, to be honest. I don't know. I haven't played One Piece, so I don't know any of those logistics. But all I know is that we just paid $80 a box for our what's it called? BT16 boxes.
Yes.
And I just don't understand like why everybody's so like gung-ho about like, oh, nobody understands what it means to run an LGS, yada. It's because we see it. It's not just like we're sitting here complaining like, oh, they're overcharging us, they're being a Walmart or an Amazon. No, because there are good LGSs out there who do it for their players. Like, unfortunately, some players can't find good LGSs. Some players don't have any near them. And some that do, they don't have good ones. I know this for a fact because if I lived down in Philadelphia, I would hate myself. I would hate myself so much. Dan, you remember that time we went to Alternate Universe?
Yeah.
How much were they asking for a box of Digimon?
Honestly, I don't remember. Do you?
It was $90.
Oh, okay.
If not 110. And I mean, I'm okay with 90, but at the time, like 90 now sounds decent, but at the time, our boxes were either 70 or 75 at Gamer's Edge. So it's not like it was, again, not like it's horrible, but like, again, when I think about buying a box, I think about the logistics. Cool. $70, $75. That's like a AAA game. $90. That's close to $100. For me, personally, that's a tank of gas for my truck or a tank of diesel. That's because diesel is like $4-ish, maybe a little bit more. I paid like $110 to fill my truck up. And I'm not somebody who will be like, oh, well, I just won't, I don't know. I'm not cheap is what I'm trying to say. I'll pay. Dan knows I'll pay.
If it makes sense. If it makes sense to pay for it.
I'll only pay if it makes sense. So we talking 95? Yeah, 95 is too much because I can get boxes way cheaper than that. Way cheaper than that, especially because I'm trying to find myself a deal. So moral of the story is, I don't know like what half of these people are on. I just wanted to rant about some of the views I've been seeing and say that yes, 95 is too much for a box. Unfortunately, some people don't have the luxury of just finding another LGS. Just again, if I was in Philadelphia, it'd be a tough life because I'd be like, damn, I really got to drive all the way up to Gamer's Edge. Which is, I think it's like it's at least an hour and a half, if not 2 hours from Philly. About 2 hours. So I would hate myself because I know all the game stores down there. None of them are. Nope. I mean, I'll just go on this last little bit here. Even near me, there's a shop, Cloud City Games, when I was trying to get into Lorcana. And I walked into their shop and they were asking like $100 for the Trove, which is basically a Pokemon ETB. You know what ETB is? Elite Trainer Box. It's the one that you can find in stores. It comes with like...
Oh, I know what you're talking about, yeah.
6 to 8 packs and a bunch of like little goodies.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's $50 MSRP from Ravensburger. And they were asking $100. And I was like... You're insane because it's not even like I'm literally paying for a bunch of cardboard. Like, forget about the cards. Everything in that box was cardboard. I was like, I'm not even getting anything good out of this for the price. And like, if we're going to talk about like, oh, well, like stores have to make their profit somehow, yada, yada, yada. $50 MSRP means that you're getting that product for 30, 35.
Right.
So you're making $15, $20.
Like double percentage on that. You sell for $100.
Triple.
Crazy. Yeah, if you buy that part, yeah.
If they ask 60, I'd be okay with 60. 70, pushing it. 100, you're insane. There's no way.
Yeah, that seems pretty crazy.
The worst part about it was that like they were like, oh, like if you join our Discord, like if you prove to be like a member of the community, like you can get stuff cheaper, you get discounts and such. Bro, I joined. I was like, what the fuck do you mean discounts? I thought like, oh, we get close to MSRP. I can understand it. Like again, if it was like $60, I'd be okay. No, it's like, oh, instead of 100, you'll get it for like 85. I was like, what? Huh? A booster box of Lorcana is expensive AF. It's like $144 because the pack MSRP is like $5.99, right? So booster boxes used to be scalped for like $300, and they were selling Yeah, and they were selling for something like 200. And I was like, when your
gross.
MSRP is like 96, or when your distro pricing is like 92, 96. So 144 already gets you $50. I was like, there's no way. And I bring it up because when Daddy Dan got Lorcana in, he hit us up and he was like, hey guys, I've got product at MSRP. And guess what? All of his product was bought up. And guess what? There's a Lorcana community at the Edge, just like they deserve to have one, because they treat their players nice. They know how to keep a fucking customer. Some of these places don't know how to do that. And that's why I'm glad I don't live in those areas, because couldn't be me. Anyways, let's move on to our main topic today, shall we? Enough rants about various things. Let's talk about our BT15 tier list that we predicted. Let me just share my screen. And for those of you who are listening, just know that if you pop over to YouTube, you'll be able to see all of this good stuff. But we'll do our best to announce what we're talking about for you. So I think one of our big things that we debated on was how meta-defining was Numamon going to be. We originally had it literally all over, right?
Yeah.
But we knew it was going to be, well, you guys told me because I didn't realize it.
No, it was me. Don't put Mike into this. I'm blaming Mike for that tier list. That eyesore in that meta defining, it should not be there.
So we'll get to that in a second. Dan said, yeah, it's a good deck, and I was like, okay, like I don't see it because I don't know what I didn't see.
You was blind.
Yeah, I was blind. The slime was blinding my eyes. You know what I mean? So, but we agreed at the end to put it like right at the top of meta defining, and I feel like it's safe to say Numamon was the most meta defining list, the most meta defining deck, I should say. Sorry, throughout all of BT15. Let's just reorganize the list real quick. We'll get this right out of the way. Bloomlord. If we were going to
a fun time, not a long time,
we would have put this in contenders somewhere. But since
rogue sleeper pick,
since we're looking back on it now, it's a rogue sleeper pick. And I'm going to order it.
I think it should be a pilot oriented because it was only one.
I was going to say, am I going to order it in any particular way? Yes. Did I purposely drop it at the bottom of rogue sleeper? Yes. Is it a pilot oriented deck? Honestly, this deck is such an anomaly because this is a deck that reads. Top, right? This is it's a deck that reads like it should be really good, right?
Yeah.
Everything about this deck should be insane. You've got Quantumon, Hydramon bot decks, Bloomlord gets Sec +1, Quartzmon locks boards down. This deck should be bonkers, right?
But it's not.
It
just gets bodied by everything else.
It's so insane. Now, one that I know I overestimated, Shine Greymon.
Yeah. I would say it's either at the bottom of contenders or top of road because there was at least I think like 5 or 6 tops.
It definitely got a few tops.
There was definitely like 1 or 2 in like almost every regional, I feel like, or Ulti Cup that was in it, honestly. And they're usually like
they can take a look
12 to 16 range.
We can take a look right now, starting right back at the beginning of the format. Let's disregard the APOC results. So what's the common trend here? So Numamon Levia X was the meta defining for like the first, I would say half
quarter. Yeah,
first quarter of the format.
There's a shine. No, that's that's shine.
Yep, there's a shine Greymon right there. That's an Emperor Gray, which we'll get to Red Hybrid in just a second.
Shine right there, right here. Down. There was 2 of them in that one, right? To the left,
yep. Shine Gray there. Here's a shine Gray. We've got Davas. I'm just gonna say, you're seeing shine. I'm seeing Davas.
Davas is higher. No, Davas should be meta defining because it had dubs.
I was just about to say, Davis put up enough results that it's a meta-defining list. If I were to, I remember, why did we put this down? I don't remember.
Mike, that was a Mike thing because Mike doesn't like Davis orders. I kept saying like, yo, it should be higher, but you know.
It definitely was a meta-defining list. I don't even need to talk about Mirage. We already know Mirage
came in definitely like the last half. It just blew up everything.
Not only did it blow up, but like it just was constantly topping as well. I think that's another thing like Deva's. It didn't top in this one, but it topped here. It topped here. It didn't top in this one. This was a Gallantmon top. That was weird.
In the beginning, it was like one or two tops here and there, Mirage that you saw, and then like it just exploded towards the last half.
I would say that's definitely a like last half thing. Yeah.
Yeah, like right here at least, and you go up. But you see Numemon taking chunks too, so but like later on, if you keep going up, you see the EU one right there. Yep, the rain trade, and then that's like it really feels like it like took off. It felt like to me.
Yeah, Mirage. I would argue that Red Hybrid was Numemon stayed. I think Numemon was the most meta defining, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh wow, no Numemon in this one. That was 7, actually 8. Surprising, but yeah, 7, 8. None in this 9. One. Yeah, there's Red Hybrid. I would 10, argue 11. Like Numemon Red Hybrid traded blows for most meta defining, with Mirage like very, very close behind, as well as Deva's.
And I would say you still put the Levi, because the Levi, you didn't move Levi yet. Levi should be on the top.
I would only put it at the top contenders.
I was gonna say at the bottom, meta defining or top contenders, because it was, in the very beginning, it was like, all right, this is the BDs. Everybody was saying like this is the best deck in the format, and then we realized it wasn't. You know what I'm saying?
Let's think about something, right? What do we define as meta defining? Decks that requires the entire format to essentially revolve around them, right?
For sure.
Leviamon was and still is a meta-defining, well, not BT16 is, but still is a meta-defining deck, because sure, it got a lot of tops. It definitely was able to take advantage of decks like Deva's what's it called? Fenry and Numemon by playing by effects. But what was the trend that we saw? It somehow like dropped off after just a few tournaments. Why did it drop off? Because people learned how to play into the deck, and people learned how to navigate it. And even if you would think, all right, let me shy away from playing Numemon because I play right into Leviamon. No, I'm still going to play Numemon, and I'm just going to go faster. And that's where we saw. You could,
but then it's like, all right, you pop my things. All right, cool. I'll bring 2 more bodies and F you up.
Right. So there was just so many ways around it, and I think it warrants a place of meta defining right at the bottom. But just because players learned how to play into the matchup, and that alone made it a meta defining deck, because if you didn't account for Leviamon, you could run into that deck and basically get mollywopped. Fenris started running Black Garomon Uber to get around the Leviamon.
Yeah.
I know for me, just in the event that I took on Leviamon, even though I didn't see a lot towards the end of the format, I knew I wanted 4 BT13 Magnamon, because it floats out the Vmon, just in case they do a Dragomon play. They don't have the entire setup. I can still end up with a body on board. Like, I'd agree that it was a meta-defining deck right at the very bottom, if not, top of contenders. Mirage, I already know what you've said about it.
Mega Gargo?
Sorry, Mega Gargo. Yeah, I don't know why I said Mirage. Mega Gargo, I already know what you said about it. I would say it's like a mid-pack.
I was a little off of it because I thought Mega Gargo was cracked, but
it was, right? And we saw it in a lot of lists. It did get a good amount of tops, and it also saw play as its own card in fucking Deva's, which was bonkers.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it still warrants a spot. Oriumon. DigiPolice.
I don't think anyone topped with the deck. So fun time, long time.
DigiPolice Oriumon. I thought that deck was going to be so much better than it was, and unfortunately, it was not. And at least D-Boys had I want to say a top or two. If there was I think it had. Yeah, right here. Yep.
Oh, okay.
One here.
Oh, there's 2. Yeah.
One here. And
all right.
There was
got 2 tops. I didn't know that.
It was probably at least one more here, maybe. But I've seen that one top, but none of them were the Oriumon list. So the bare minimum, I'd put it at the bottom of contenders. But it probably just got outsped, and then Monze X also just really messed you up big time.
Yeah.
Greymon. I think that's just
Rogue Sleeper, because it was 2 or 3. No.
Oh yeah, you're right.
It was definitely like.
I feel like it's.
If you put D boys up there, we're only 2 tops, and there was more Greymon tops.
Yeah,
what are we talking about here?
Yeah. Right. All right. Rogue Sleeper. But it's weird, right? Because that first Greymon list that topped was like. What?
A bit outlandish.
Yeah, a bit. I remember you covered that. You were like, what? And then it wasn't even like Black War Gray that topped. It was
War
like
Gray X.
War Gray X, like OTK list. I honestly, I kind of would say that's pilot oriented. So yeah, I'll put it top of pilot oriented.
But it was more than just one Greymon top, wasn't it? Because the Greymon was like, the top 4.
There was 2 or 3.
All right, let's go check it out. Check it out real quick. Let's see.
So let's see. We've got
none.
Here's Raid War Gray right
there's
here.
There's one Greymon deck. There we go.
So that was Latin America. I know I saw War Gray X down here somewhere chilling. War Gray X is nope, not there. Oh, he's somewhere here. He's hiding.
Yeah, it was early on.
Okay, so like that, I think that's just kind of like we're just gonna do some quick searches here. Oh yeah, Shine Greymon doesn't count. There. All right, so there's one War Greymon. There's a Shine Greymon, 20 Greymon decks. Shine Greymon, some more Shine Gray. Yeah, I mean, Shine Gray was definitely the better. Here's a War Greymon X deck. So yeah, it was basically, we're not counting the Ultimate Cups here. It was basically 2 War Gray X decks. That's a pilot deck.
Sure. Yeah.
And I'll give you D-Boys at top of Rogue Sleeper.
Yeah.
Melga.
Get that
pilot oriented is honestly.
I think it was only one top, and it was our friend.
Yeah, because of the amount of tops. Because of the amount of tops it had, like it
was only like 1, right?
I think it was just the one. I don't even know which one it was.
Our friend Pyro.
Alan.
Alan, there you go.
I just don't know what event it was. There it is. Nope. There. Oh no, that's his last name.
He got a top 8 with it. That's for sure. I don't know what it is. Well, I don't know what.
Yeah, I don't know which event it was either. I know there was a top somewhere. Oh, there it is. There's a 12th place from Latin America.
Oh, there's one.
And that's just representation. And yeah, I can't find anything else. So
well, there should be 2 because he has won that because he won the Omnimon. Right?
Can't find anything else. I literally can't find anything else. Regardless, pilot oriented, because even regardless of what, I think it's still a good deck. It's just a deck that requires a good pilot at this point. Somebody who's committed to actually playing Melga and not just dumb blue OTK shenanigans, i.e. all the Melga players are now playing Mirage. That's essentially what that boils down to.
Probably.
Yellow Vaccine.
Probably, yeah.
Right.
Sounds about right.
Right behind Fenry, Shine Gray. Machine Jamon we thought would have been good, but damn, that boy is slow. That boy is slow. I drop it somewhere in pilot oriented as well.
I don't even think it made a top, so it could even be like farther down if you want.
It might have had one, just one, and I'm not really recalling what event that would have been.
It might have been. Or do we have? This is regionals. Is there Ulti Cups on here?
Yeah, this is regionals and Ulti Cups.
Oh, okay.
Regionals and Ulti Cups. Which shout out to Eggman Events. If you guys want to go look up this stuff yourself, you can find out all the information you want on eggmanevents.com. So I didn't see any tops for it. So yeah, that would be. Where did I just drop it? I dropped it in pilot oriented.
Just put a fun time, long time for now.
Yeah, top of fun time, not a long time. Yeah. What else do we have here?
Beelzemon. You think it was contenders?
Bottom
it was
of
only
contender.
Like 5.
It got a couple of tops. I don't know. I'll leave it. I would leave it there. Dark Masters Omnizoo, leave it there. Dorbic is Dorbic.
No, fun time, long time. Dorbic, fun time, long time. We're gonna be switching a lot of fun time to long time decks. Do we want to put that in like pilot oriented because it was only like the last 2? right?
I would.
Yeah.
Same thing with
Secon.
Hunters, which is probably the big pilot-oriented deck. Nah, Secon, I'd probably leave it right at the bottom of the contenders.
It had about like at least one or two in each one, I feel like.
Oh, not each one, but it definitely had its representation of tops.
Yeah.
I can say that with certainty. Blue Flare did not perform.
Yeah.
All-Force won.
All-Force had like one, right? Yeah.
One or two. Adamon did not perform. Jellymon performed.
Jellymon performed better than Gamamon. Rogue Sleeper, baby.
Yeah, Gamamon goes down.
Gamamon down.
Leomon performed.
Yeah.
Jessmon just performed,
It just
I believe.
got one, so pilot oriented, yeah.
Belphamon is a rogue sleeper deck.
Yeah, it turned out to be a lot more people towards the last half that was like Belphamon is a deck. No, Jessmon needs to go down to pilot oriented. You didn't move Jessmon down.
Yeah,
there
yeah.
You go.
Milith,
Bloom,
right where it
Bloom
is.
needs to go back down longer.
Plesio, I don't know.
Fun time, long time.
Yeah, that was you. That was your fucking fish swarm cope.
Yeah.
Alphamon is arguably the king of pilot oriented just because we said it at the beginning of we might have said it during that video actually. Yeah,
no, we said it during that video. He's gonna get the top.
Yeah, exactly. Which is so funny that you said that because what was it? 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Lychee King
got to the finals with it.
I think it was top 3, third or fourth place with Alphamon. If there was somebody who was going to do it, it was Lychee, and he did it. Alphamon is the king of pilot oriented because if there's one person that can top with a fucking Alphamon deck, it is Lychee. Blue Hybrid thought that might have done something, didn't do anything. Leopard X, I tried. Nope. Gaiomon, nope. All of these were in waiting for BT15.
You forgot Kentoros.
Right there.
Can we grab Kentoros, please? Grab Kentoros.
Oh shit,
right
I didn't even see that.
Yeah.
Hey, I tried. It just... Which, with that in mind, I guess I'm only going to do this just because I don't have anything else to put on it right now.
What is that?
This is Magnadramon, but what I wanted to represent
the Magnadramon for the yellow vaccine, that was Magna / Serafi. That was such a cool deck. That's how.
Well, it was, so we had regular yellow vaccine, right? That was like whatever vaccine wanted to do, but there was the list that won that Ultimate Cup, as well as a couple other lists, maybe one or two, maybe not too much. Right. But it was a list that was just straight like yellow vaccine aggro. Because it utilized Mitamamon and everything along the trashing to gain advantage line of stuff to be a good deck. So that's what the Magnadramon represents there. Because that's kind of the concept behind Kentoros, just not in the same way. Obviously using Kentoros as the top end, as the main engine, not using Mitama and whatever else. But that did its thing, and it was a different deck than Yellow Vaccine, really, to be honest. So
we have one that's waiting for BT16 that we were completely wrong on, and it is Magnamon. That turned out to be a contender, arguably somewhere around our range, because it started definitely. I want to say that's the halfway mark. We starting to see like obviously Volley top
one or two tops.
19.
Yeah.
Got 19th with it, and then we kept seeing a lot of more Magnamon tops after that. So like,
yeah, there was 2 people before me.
Yeah,
because those were the 2 deck lists that I had looked at for inspiration. Then there was mine, and then there was at least 4 or 5 after that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would put it probably below Patamon and maybe Shine. I think technically.
I think so. I think also in terms of matchups, those are just very sticky matchups for it anyways.
Yeah.
So I'd agree with that regardless.
I would also put Apocalymon behind Belphamon. I don't think Apocalymon even topped. I don't think DM OmniZoo topped.
1. Nope, it had 1 or 2. You covered it in a snapshot. So I would say Belphamon is probably like right up there. No, probably Beelzemon first, because Beelzemon is... It's hard to even say like, oh, Beelzemon was a rogue sleeper pick. So I just want you guys to know, like, Rogue Sleeper Picks and Pilot Oriented, neither one is necessarily a ding on the deck. It really just is a matter of what does this deck do and who is capable of doing what with this deck.
Yeah.
As far as Beelzemon is concerned, like, just as we say Alphamon is like a Lychee deck at this point, Beelzemon is a Beelzemon player's deck. If you're going to do well with Beelzemon, that means you play Beelzemon. Like, you don't just I dabble in Beelzemon.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
You play Beelzemon. I would put it right behind Alphamon and Pilot Oriented just because of like exactly that, what it does. I would put Hunters right behind them because
Hunters
the person who top with
tops,
Hunters.
though. It had like 3-4 tops.
Did it really?
So maybe it could be higher, honestly.
I don't remember all that, but the reason I'll leave it exactly where it is because the list that I remember was quite literally a list out of BT12.
Yeah.
Man, like
Hunter doesn't change. Hunter hasn't changed in like so long. It doesn't matter what's out there. You still do the same exact stuff.
right. You do the same exact stuff. And if you're a madman enough to just say, screw it, I'm just going to play what I know and I'm going to play Hunters, and you top with the list that you've been playing since BT12, you're right behind the likes of Alphamon and Beelzemon, straight up. Because you just do what you do and you do it well. And then behind them, everything else here.
There's one deck in Fun Time, Long Time. We gotta move up to Pilot Oriented because somehow they got a W and it's Gallimon.
Yeah, you're right about that. I'll put it ahead of Chessmon, behind Royal Knights.
I got a dub, so you gotta put it higher.
Right. I mean, that's how I feel, right? It won a regional, so I feel like it has to go higher, right? I'll put it right here. I'll put it right behind Hunters.
It was
that's
the one and only top, which is the person who won that EU regional, which is kind of crazy.
EU regional. Yeah. So that's there. Yeah. Vaccine, I'd put that aggro build I put behind Royal Knights, Greymon, Jess, Allforce, Millith, Melga, and Bloom. Everything here stays. All of these decks at the bottom weren't doing much of anything.
Why do we have Rosemon and Burst Mode separately? I don't remember.
Rose, because we considered Rose X and Burst Mode to be two separate builds when we made this.
Oh, okay.
So
there was a Rosemon deck that top, right?
I was just about to say, with that in mind, because, again, I can't modify this list. I can't take them off. Rosemon, Pilot Oriented deck, arguably better than Bloom.
Wild.
I don't remember how many tops Bloom had. All I know is that one. I do remember a Rosemon top, and I would say if you top with Rosemon, yeah, we had considered it two different builds because Burst can't go on top of X without hard digivolving. Right. So we figured if you were going to play Rosemon, you're either going to play a Rosemon X-centric build or Burst mode-centric build because their pieces also don't intertwine that well. You have Lilamon and Lilymon. So that's why we did it that way. But the list that topped was a combination of Rose X and what's it called? Burst mode. Let me see if I can find that list as well, because I don't recall what it was exactly. Nope. Of course, I'm not going to be able to find it.
Are you searching for Rose? Because you keep where you go through is showing Melgarumon, and that's what's highlighting.
No, but there was a couple that still had Metalga. Yeah,
I know, but
there it is.
Did you highlight Rosemon? Yeah, that was my question. If you highlighted Rosemon,
yeah, there. So here it is. Here's Rose X, and here's Rosemon Burst, and Yoshino and Mimi, and Lilymon and Lilamon. This is my problem with the deck. It's like it's two half of the same line kind of thing. Yep. Congratulations for 6th place. I know we said that, but like that's why it's like such a weird combination of cards. But it topped. So yeah, Pilot Oriented. Heavy Leomon. I feel like Leomon had 2 or 3.
Yeah, I think so.
Jellymon had 1 minimum, maybe 2.
It had 2. Because I covered those.
Okay. So I think this is where... I think
it's probably pretty accurate now, where we are, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, we made a lot of changes, but here's the biggest thing about...
the core top 2 were the same still regardless, I think.
Well, even like forget about that. I think the biggest thing about like tier list as a whole, right? First of all, a tier list is just our opinions. I just like to poke fun and call them definitive because we had such strong opinions about calling it definitive in the first place. But tier lists are all opinions in the first place. It's really just a fun way to think about all the decks in the format, what might perform, what might not. So in terms of like what was meta defining, we took 2 decks out. We took out Shine and we took out, what was the other deck, Dan, that we took out? I forget. Bloom. Which I don't think anybody could have really expected that from Bloom, to be fair. But again, on paper, it reads to be a really good deck, but unfortunately, it didn't have the results.
It wasn't. Goddamn, Mike.
And then Shine for me, it's one of those decks where if it's gonna do what it does, it's just gonna do what it does, right? But meta defining, unfortunately, it wasn't. The other decks, though, Devas, yeah. We can blame Mike for that one. Leviah, I know there was a comment that said like right after Worlds, like, funny to see Leviamon at the bottom of contenders. We said, I don't know where Leviah is going to be. We were like, I don't know who's going to do what with this deck because it's a deck that didn't do well in Japan because of the big 3 back then, which was Melga, Anubis, APOC. So it was a deck that was pretty well positioned to do something.
I don't really
because of so many unknowns,
I don't really feel comfortable keeping it meta defining. I think it's top of the contenders because I don't even think it got a dub. It just had a decent amount of tops early on.
No, it definitely won.
Did it get a dub?
Let's see. Red Hybrid, Gallantmon, 4 Sovereigns, Mirage, Numa, Devas, Numa, Vaccine, Mirage. Oh, well, then I was wrong. Mirage.
Yeah, it never even got a dub.
Mirage.
Had a nice.
Yeah.
I was saying, yeah, it had a nice chunk of tops early on, and then it fell off.
It never took home the win.
Never even got a dub, so it doesn't deserve to be meta defining. We are correct then.
Nope. Yep. It was definitely meta defining early on in terms of representation.
Yes.
But like in the retrospect, it's just a very meta defining deck.
You can't be meta defining if you're not even getting a dub. Not even just one is kind of crazy to me. All those top 4 got at least 1 dub, which makes, I mean, if that's, but like there's more to it because Gallantmon had a dub and doesn't deserve to be meta defining. It just got lucky one time. But they consistently have, representation plus the multiple dubs they each had. So that's why I think those 4 are definitely meta defining.
Yeah, I agree with you on that 110%. Devas would have been my underrated pick because I wouldn't have argued to put this in meta defining at all. If anything, I would have said, like top of contenders. I didn't think it would do as well as it did, and it proved to be probably one of the ultimate control decks of the format because it just had a good matchup into everything, really. Your worst matchup was Numamon, and that's just because they go faster than you. Because sometimes against Numamon,
not even because if they drop the fan long, Numamon is stuck a lot of times.
Right.
It's kind of that's kind of a hard matchup.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Against Numamon, like they have a good matchup. It's just if Numamon outspeeds them, they outspeed them. But if you don't outspeed Devas, shit can snowball really quick. That happened for me with armors. I wasn't able to bounce stuff and everything snowballed. And then there was like 4 things on board and I can't remove those. Those are high DP, big bodies. Like
I think the instant loss is the Mirage. Mirage because it just bounces level 5s. It doesn't even care. That's the issue for Devas. That's why Mirage started popping up a lot more because Mirage is like, all right, Devas, no problem. I'll just bounce level 5s. You can't even ace blast me. You know what I'm saying? And then same against Numamon, right? You bounce Numamon, you lose the on-dilution effects. And then you just pop off. You play against Red Hybrid. Guess what? You bounce their stack that has a tamer underneath. If you have on-dilution effects, nothing's happening. You know what I'm saying? So Mirage was just a great deck in this format, honestly. It's crazy to say. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. I would say
it had like
because it just blew up at
like 8 wins.
Half. Yeah,
it had like 8 wins. I just counted it. It might even have more than Numamon, to be honest.
Yeah,
1 for Numamon, 2. It has more wins than Numamon, actually.
Yeah, if you want to do that, then yeah, for sure. It's because like I said, it just blew up in the last half. Like if you look at BT15, the format for us, it was about 3 months long, right? It felt like the first month it was like, all right, Levi was the top dog, which then instantly turned to Red Hybrid Satsumamon, and then like the second month was like Numamon and Dave was kind of like fighting for it, felt like, and then like maybe like mid to the last month, it was like straight Mirage that was like wreaking havoc with Numamon popping up still. It was pretty crazy. And Mirage
carried it. You know what's really cool about that? You could say that it was in a good way like a rock, paper, scissors meta, right? Not in the way not in the way that like people might think I mean it. It's just that Leviamon was really good. So what did people do? They set out to beat Leviamon. And what happened? Numamon, the players got better. They practiced their deck more. And, even the likes of Fenrir started putting in the Black Gatos, and people were like, all right, well, let me play Devas, because if you pop me, I'll pop you. And then, okay, so Leviamon fell out. And then you said it was Devas and Numamon fighting for that like second part of it, right?
Yeah.
So then they're like, all right, cool. How do I beat these? Well, Red Hybrid, I could go faster. I can prevent them from playing by effects. And then when those tables kind of shift, all right, Devas is up here now. Well, how can I get rid of Devas? Oh, well, I'll play Mirage. Cool. I'm just going to bounce everything to hand. And I guarantee if this format were to go on for another month, what would be right up here?
Second, yeah, because Mirage would just is the one that's a lot of it is people start playing Second because you can't. But even it's a little rough because you could Mirage can kind of get around it a little. So I don't know. But I can see where you're going with it, though. I can see where you're going with it.
You can, but it's definitely tougher as a blue deck without any access to native red. So let's just say this gets pushed up, right? What gets pushed up with it? Fenrir. Why does Fenrir get pushed up? ADP. Shine Gray gets pushed up. Why? Because they have trashing, and their deletion just puts stuff into security, and you just have a better matchup. It also pushes Vaccine down because Vaccine, in my opinion, decks out faster than Secon will. Is probably how that matchup goes.
Yeah.
So like, it was a nice. Right. It was a nice, healthy format of saying, well, sure, there's a best deck in the format, like right at this very moment. But all it takes is, all right, cool. Well, this one deck to come and ruin that deck's day, which I think was very healthy. In terms of deck turnout, what is this? 11 decks total that were meta, so to say. If you don't count Double Typhoon, because let's just say you don't count that, there were 10 decks that you could play. And it's to varying playstyles. Aggro. Well, control. Sure, aggro, but because of Mirage, it gives it a little bit of that control aspect. Control in Devas. Aggro. Whatever the fuck you consider Leviamon, and aggro set up mid-range control deck.
Mid-range?
Don't fucking know. Vaccine.
Control.
In both versions here, control as well as aggro or mid-range. Shine, aggro. Armors, control, aggro. Secon, control.
Yeah.
Like, there was something for everybody to play, which I think is the thing that matters the most. I've read a lot of things about people like they got tired of BT15, and I'm like, I get it. Like, sure, it was long. We've been with it since February. You're also probably the same people who are complaining about we have formats too fast.
Yeah.
It's like,
but we
had a 3-month format.
You mentioned just those 10 decks, but like the rogue sleeper picks were like popping up, especially Belfmont. So that's 11, 12. Heavy Leo is a good deck. Like a lot of those top, I guess you could say 15, I guess then, or 16. Those are really good decks that like, if you know those decks in and out, you can do well. I'm not counting pilot oriented. I'm just going to the rogue sleeper part.
Well, like, you gotta count pilot oriented, right? Because if it's a deck that you're willing to put into work for, we saw Alex Mock with the Millith top early on. Jesmon just got their top after an entire format.
Yeah, 100%.
Fucking Royal Knights had the 2 in that one tourney.
That's what, like, that looks like 20 decks that like people topped with. Like, you just look at all tops. That's 15. About, you know,
it's 15 4, because 5, 6, Rosemon, 7, 8, 9. The 2 Rosemons are the same deck, and then this vaccine is kind of like that vaccine. So you can average it to be 15 between these, but in total, it's close to like
in total it's almost 30. It's 28.
It's almost 30 decks.
That made,
which is,
you know, they
tops
top
in various ways.
One deck. We're missing one deck actually on here.
Which one?
I guess we didn't talk about Gobblebond, because Gobblebond had a couple tops.
We were never going to talk about Gobblebond. There is no world we ever would have talked about. I know what you're saying. There's no world.
Outside this last regional, there was like a 1 or 2 tops of the Gobblebond.
There was. Yeah. And there is no world that anybody would have predicted, in my opinion, that Gobblebond do well, especially over the likes of Amelga. That's me being honest.
For sure.
So that's another one that would be right here in pilot oriented, which just kind of shows like what this format was. It was really a, hey, you like this deck, right? Go ahead and play it.
It was like
Let me tell you guys something. You see this deck that we have at the top of contenders? You know how many tops that deck had? Let's count it.
I was at least one in almost every one, right?
I would like to say it was on average 1 in every tournament, if not 2. So
that was probably like 2 there, I think. There's 1 right there. There was 1 right there. There was 1 right there. I see, I think 2 there. 2 there. Yeah, that's a decent amount.
Let's just say 10-ish tops.
I think it had more tops than Leviathan, I think.
Probably did. I never topped with it. And I played it for the first 3 tournaments of the format, I want to say. And it just didn't treat me right. It did not treat me right. It was a deck that I love Fenry, and it didn't treat me right. And going into that Ultimate Cup, I was like, oh, I'm damn sure not playing Fenry. So what do I want to play? Do I want to play Magnamon, or do I want to play Beelzemon? And realistically, I could have done fine with either, but I ended up not top 16, but I got a top 32 with Magnamon. And then obviously in all of like the entire format, it had a total of 6, 7-ish tops. So that alone is just kind of like, all right, well, if this one deck ain't working for you, you don't like this deck, you don't like that deck, you don't like that deck, there's a lot of decks for you to choose from. You just got to be willing to put into work. Sometimes it's just not as unga bunga as you might want it to be, you know? I definitely had to think a lot of times with this, whereas with this, I tried to do that thinking, but the heart of the cards just wasn't with me. Come on, baby.
People, I feel like people complain about this format a lot for some reason. I don't know why. It's such a different format because JP didn't have this format. So for me, it was a refreshing breath of air. I mean, we knew that Umon was going to be a good deck. We knew Devo was a good deck. We knew, Red Harbor was a good deck and stuff. But we just didn't know how it was going to turn out. You know what I'm saying? So it was good to see that we had that. And now we're going into a new format, for us at least, that's basically already a solved format, and we're not gonna have this revolving door of 10 decks that did good. Honestly, I don't think we will. We're going to see it's going to be a heavy Magna X format, and it's going to be pretty problematic. I think. I know we have 4 here, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's like, all right, let's say we had I don't know, 5 tournaments. We're going to have a crap ton is Magna X, and people are going to be like, damn, I wish we had the same type of deck, same type of format we have for BT15.
So realistically, if we're not coping,
wait, we put Imperial in pilot oriented?
Because
why?
Yes, because the support.
Because of Dino B? Bro, who lied to us?
All of it.
Who said that one? I don't think I said that one. I didn't say it.
I coped. I don't like that deck, but I coped for it. All right, just because it got support is why I said pilot oriented. But realistically, if we're not coping and we're looking at this with an objective light here,
Bring it down.
I'm going to say
Bring Gallon down. Bring Bloom down. Bring all. I feel like there's always one all fours in the top. That tops.
It's because it can do it.
Yeah. Galaxy down. I think I think Galaxy might get one just because they're new stuff.
That's what I said. I do think Galaxy is going to get a top.
If they go with like the Mirage top end thing, I think they could be a pilot oriented deck. Let's put Black or Greymon down.
I do think that it doesn't matter. We don't have to change those. I'm just trying to look at the total decks that we think are going to do well. This is 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. So we still have the same amount of decks that we anticipate are going to do something.
If I'm looking at it as like objectively now, just thinking about, I think we could drop probably 5 of those decks easy to casual.
Out of these?
I think Black or Greymon going to drop down. I think Levi is going to drop down. I think War Greymon probably be pilot oriented again too, even though like the raid works well. I think Shine is going to drop down. Belfmon, I don't know.
That's why I'm not trying to reevaluate all of that. I'm just trying to say.
I don't know. I'm worried that people are going to be so heavy on the Magna X train that people are just going to be like, I'm just running Magna X and call it a day.
That's a topic for another day. What I'm trying to look at is we've got 4 meta defining decks. We've only got 5 contenders in BT16. We had a total of 7 contenders, and then we just had a good amount of decks that topped it. Like legitimately topped in Rogue, Sleeper, and Pilot oriented. There's just a little bit less of those, and like Dan said, like it's entirely possible some of these decks don't do anything. Doru Goramon, it's entirely possible that deck does nothing. I can see Leviamon doing absolutely nothing. I would give it to some Greymon deck to do something, just because it's a Greymon deck.
Yep, Raid is a thing.
Raid is a thing, and they have DP buffing, but like realistically, it's possible that the almost 30 decks that we had here is more like 20 decks in BT16.
Yeah.
And that's just because of the presence of this motherfucker right here. He walls out. He quite literally is a gatekeeper of the format. If you can't perform well into this, like you're probably just not going to have a good time. And that's the story of 2 formats, right? The story of BT15 was, well, the big 3 were hit, and now what do we do?
Wild West.
It really was. Like this is a big tier list difference from what we started with. And going into BT16, the story is, can you beat Magna X?
Correct.
Can you get rid of Magna X? No? All right then. Like, I think not only was it a healthy format, it was a nicely sized, nicely timed format. Again, 3 months, that's generally what we should be aiming for in terms of set releases. 4 set releases a year, 3 months in between. Sure, there might be an EX set in between, but there's not always going to be an EX set in between every set.
Correct.
So realistically speaking, for those of you who were like, oh, like I want them to slow down, this is a slowed down period of time. This is what it should feel like to be a player of the Digimon card game. Because what we're about to head into,
and then we're gonna get a month or so of BT16, and then right immediately is EX06, or is it even less than a month?
1 month of 16, 1 month of EX7, about I want to say a month and a half, 2 months. Sorry, EX6, a month and a half to 2 months of BT17. I think it's more like a month and a half, and then like a month or a month and a half of that until EX7 and the started X. So yeah, not only are we about to be spending money as players, but you're about to look back on BT15 and be like, damn, I really missed that time.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
Until we get the special boosters, the 2.0 and 2.5. We're gonna have solved formats again. Not solved per se, but like it's gonna be like what happened, JP. It's gonna be basically similar to what we're gonna have here. So like until like I guess it depends on what they hit within the next 3-4 months. I don't even know. The good and bad thing about Bandai's ban list is it's unpredictable. We don't know when they'll decide to do it. So I don't know again. Exactly. So we're not sure about that part, but until that happens, we don't know, and we can only go with the knowledge that we have right now. We know it's going to be BT16. We already know what the top dogs are going to be. There's nothing different per se. Will there be a couple things that's going to be outliers that like, oh, this is an English thing that seems like it's popping up? Yeah, probably. But besides that, not really.
Yeah. In terms of like global unification, like I love this format. I am tired of it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to complain about how long it was because I was just going to turn. I built 2 jank decks this format. I started the format out with a jank deck that I tried for a couple of weeks, and I ended the format on a jank deck. And I'm not talking about armors, all right? Like, if you guys are thinking that, no, I'm talking about my Marvin's Machines cope, and then my Hexablow Dianamon cope. And I had fun with
Tyrannomon in between.
Oh yeah, and Tyrannomon. I made 3 jank decks this format. I don't ask Dan. I don't make jank decks. I'm like one of those like sweaty players. I'm not like.
Yeah, he's a loser.
I'm super competitive. So like generally like when I play, I'm just trying to play like the decks that I like that are good. But like these 3 decks that I built, I loved them while I was playing them, regardless of how much I got my ass wiped with them. I've never done that before. BT15 was it was a good set. I know we had the LM stuff. Unfortunate, but the set was great in terms of being support. BT16 is about to be great in terms of support. And I had a lot of fun. I really did. I can say that I probably had more fun in this format than I probably had more fun in this format than I've had
last couple formats
since probably BT9. And I mentioned BT9 because I enjoyed Alphamon like a dirty little fuck.
Why you said it like that? You enjoyed losing with that deck. You enjoyed watching your 3 rookies in security. That's what you enjoyed.
But when I did what I did, it was great, and I loved it. But did I build any jank decks that format? No. BT10, I didn't get to play my yellow hybrid shenanigans that I wanted to. And as a matter of fact, no, it would be BT10 because BT10 was my Sequoiamon Venusmon deck.
Yeah, I mean, it was a format that you kind of like slow down playing in general. So I don't remember which one that was at the moment. Was it 11? 12?
It might have been
10.
One of those.
No, 10 is the one we got the case. We got the case. Oh, yeah, maybe I think it was pre that. It might have been pre. No, you had 2 spots. No, you had 2 spots where you slowed down.
It was either 11 or 12.
Yeah, I think so.
Because BT13, I was like all in on Royal Knights and like all the other cope decks. BT12,
so yeah, it could have been 11 or 12 then. Yeah.
BT11, I was a little bit more excited for because Mastamon. I just, that deck doesn't work. But BT10 was like the last time like I made fun jank decks, and that was a deck that worked for me, and I loved it. That was pure waifu cope deck. Outside of that, yeah, like this is the most fun I've had in a format since. So
yeah, it's a great format. I know someone was I forget who it was in our Discord. They made a comment saying, how much fun do you like playing against these decks today?
That was Panzer. Like Panzer.
Yeah. Or something like that. And I'm just like, or what was the actual question or comment? It was like,
it was something along the lines of naming the decks that you enjoy playing against.
So like a lot of people in the Discord talking about like no one really like enjoying this format because they didn't like playing against any of these decks, which is to me was a very interesting comment because I was like, yeah, there's some things that's kind of frustrating when you get high rolled by red hybrid or something, or stuff like that. New mod pops off. But I think this format has such versatility that like you were able to, you had to learn the format. You had to know, all right, if you're playing if you play Numon, you had to know one, the mirror, you had to know Red Hybrid, you had to know Davos, you had to know Mirage, you had to know all these other decks. And to me, I think that's what makes a format fun. I don't care if I don't like playing against it, but it makes it a fun format to me. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather learn multiple decks and understand how each deck works instead of just playing against one deck. And you know that's the only thing you have to be in, and that's really it. You know what I'm saying?
If I were to name decks that I enjoyed playing against this format,
I don't enjoy playing. If I'm not winning easily, I don't enjoy playing it. What's the point of playing it then? You know what I'm saying? Like I want that struggle. I want someone to be like, all right, I'm about to do this. Can you stop me? Yes or no? Let me try. You know what I'm saying? But like this, you can't just say you don't enjoy it just cause, and then that's it. Cause you're mad that Mirage is popping off. Like my most annoying thing is just watching someone have the god security while I'm just like, all right, I got nothing security. That's what annoys me more than anything.
This is what I hate. The three things I hate the most, I'll tell you. I hate playing against Mirage because I hate that when they have it, i.e., if they're going to win, well, nothing you did would have changed that outcome. It, again, is like playing against BT9 Alphamon. If they have it, they have it. If they're going to win, they're going to win. I hate playing against Numamon because I hate when they just go uko, and I'm like, fuck. I could get rid of one, but there's still two more I gotta worry about. And I hate playing against Yellow Vaccine because fuck, they won't die. Just fucking die already. Oh my goodness. No, I don't know why you're looking at me like that. Every time I play against Vaccine in tournament, I'm like, hate my life. Because I know I'm going to get you down to 3 security, you're going to go back up to 6, then I got to get you back down to 3, then you're going to go back up to 6, then I got to make that final push to get you down to none. All the while you got all these aces and all this sort of stuff. You doing all that. My Yellow Vaccine deck was bindered, all right? It is sitting in the binder for a reason. All right, let's get that straight.
I mean,
that deck is
that's the whole point of the game. You have all these different decks, you gotta figure out how to beat. Like,
no, but those
like
three.
You sound like Adrian. He's like, you know, if I can't do what I'm supposed to do, I'm crying about it.
No, seriously, that's the 3 things I hate the most. I'll play, and what deck do I enjoy playing against? Probably Levia. Like, as funny as that sounds, playing the decks that I play.
That's the worst one to enjoy.
I'm fine. No, I'm fine with Leviamon. I'm fine with Fenry. I'm fine with Shine. Sekon is Sekon at this point. Like, there's nothing to say about it. If I were to ever play against a Double Typhoon deck in tournament, I mean, just playing against it at the edge, I was like, fuck. I always got to worry about the ace plays. But I'm fine. It's just Vaccine's recovery, Mirage's OTK, and it's not even Numamon. It's really just Ukomon. I could say that about any deck with Ukomon. That's what I hate the most. So, what deck do I enjoy playing against? Leviamon. Oh, I forgot to mention, if I had to like take Ukomon out of being a problem, because like Dan's like changed my mind like over the last few weeks, I still do have a problem with Mirage, and I still do have a problem with Yellow Vaccine. I would have a problem with Devas. It's not because there's a problem with the deck. Deck's perfectly fine. I think that deck is great. I just hate that like I'm constantly stressing about fucking aces. I'm like, damn it, if I swing, what's the gotcha game of the day? Do I swing and get bounced back to hand? Do I swing and get perma suspended? Do I swing and get deleted? Should I digivolve up? But if I swing before I'm a level 6, he could have Zulong. So maybe I have to get into a level 6. But if I pass turn, he could just pop it or bottom deck it. I don't know. There's so many factors that went into that matchup. Like, it would be on... Davis is like all the way on the bottom of my complaining list, but like it's such a mind game that I play when I'm in that matchup, because I'm like, fuck, there's so much thinking. And at some points it just gets to the point where I'm like, all right, if you got it, you got it. Like, because there's just nothing else you can do. You can think all you want, but at the end of the day, if they don't got it, they don't got it. But if they do have it, then they have it, you know? Card games, RNG, it is what it is. Anyways, we are at a good hour 40, I believe, somewhere around there. So we are going to wrap up today's pod. Dan, parting words.
BT15, best format in a while.
I guarantee there are going to be so many people who look back and say, damn, I miss BT15.
Yeah.
I feel like there's going to be so many people that say that. Anyways, that is it for today's episode of DigiPod, the digital podcast. So until we talk to you guys the next time, peace out.
Catch you all on the next one.